This isn't just tea. It was born in ancient Japan, perfected by monks, honored in sacred tea ceremonies. But now, it's everywhere, from temples to TikTok, from sacred to sold out. And what the world sees is only half the story, because beneath the surface, Japan is losing its grip on its own creation. This global obsession has a hidden cost. It's no longer about roots or tradition or legacy. It's about who profits from the narrative and who loses everything in the process. This is the dark truth behind matcha's rise and soon to be downfall. Long before matcha became the darling of Instagram cafes, it was medicine. Over 1,000 years ago, Buddhist monks in China began grinding tea leaves into powder not for pleasure, but for focus. The powdered green tea helped them stay alert during hours of silent meditation. Then, in the 12th century, a Japanese monk named Eisai brought this ritual back from China to Japan. But Japan didn't just adopt the drink, it transformed it. What began as a monastic practice slowly evolved into chado, the Japanese tea ceremony. Over centuries, matcha came to symbolize discipline and refined beauty, values rooted in both Zen and Japanese aesthetic. For generations, Japan protected matcha's spiritual roots, cultivating the delicate tencha leaves in the misty field of Uji. These leaves were shaded, handpicked, and stone grounded into a fine powder, a labor-intensive process that became an expression of craftsmanship and cultural pride. But even the most sacred rituals can fade. By the late 20th century, matcha was slipping into oblivion, overshadowed by coffee culture, soft drinks, and the convenience of bottled teas. Outside of tea ceremonies or traditional sweets, few young Japanese reached for matcha. To many, it felt outdated, too formal, something for grandparents and temples. That is, until a pint of ice cream changed everything. In 1996, Häagen-Dazs Japan introduced its first ever green tea flavor. The response was explosive. The rich bitterness of real matcha balanced with creamy sweetness tapped into a nostalgic pride, gave the ancient powder a new identity. Within a few short years, Häagen-Dazs green tea became the brand's best-selling flavor in Japan, surpassing global staples like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. This success led to the development of limited edition flavors such as the koicha, which was inspired by traditional Japanese tea ceremonies and celebrated the brand's 35th anniversary in Japan. The popularity of Häagen-Dazs green tea ice cream sparked a nationwide matcha obsession, leading to the growth of matcha-flavored products across Japan. This trend not only revitalized matcha's cultural significance, but also paved the way for its global popularity. Then comes Starbucks. In 2007, Starbucks introduced its now iconic matcha green tea latte to the US, a seemingly simple drink, yet it carried the weight of an entire cultural shift. By the early 2000s, a new wave of health-conscious consumers was emerging, bringing with it an obsession for superfoods with ingredients that promise wellness, energy, and health. Among these, matcha stood out. With its rich history of discipline and focus, it wasn't just a trend, it was a lifestyle. The matcha green tea latte wasn't just a beverage, it was an experience, marketed not only as a treat but a symbol of health and mindfulness. It embodied everything the wellness-obsessed, Instagram-friendly world was craving. This success was immediate. Starbucks served the matcha green tea latte in its signature tall cups, drawing attention with its bright green color, inviting customers to indulge in something new and exotic. The drink became a gateway to a larger trend, one that saw matcha move far beyond its origins in traditional tea ceremonies. The Instagram generation latched onto the green tea latte not just as a drink, but as a lifestyle accessory. But Starbucks wasn't the only one to seize on matcha's potential. Soon, cafes, restaurants, and food brands worldwide began jumping on the bandwagon. Matcha found its way into everything from ice creams to chocolate, even into savory dishes like matcha ramen and matcha flavored curry. As brands embraced the matcha trend, they capitalized on its perceived health benefits, solidifying its place in the global health food. The rise of matcha's global fame also brought along an unfortunate side effect: counterfeit matcha. While Japan is still seen as the heart of authentic matcha production, a growing market of fake matchas, largely from China, has emerged. China has increasingly become a major production and exporter of matcha powder. But not all of that is the real deal. Since the word matcha is not a regulated term in many markets outside Japan, it has led to the proliferation of products labeled as matcha that don't actually meet the high standards of authentic Japanese matcha. Much of what is sold as matcha outside Japan is often a diluted or synthetic version, sometimes made from low-grade tea leaves or even other green tea powders entirely. This is a problem because matcha's health benefits are closely tied to the quality of the leaves and how they are processed. For all the hype around matcha's wellness benefits, what's becoming increasingly clear is that the industry is in a dire need of better standards and regulations. While consumers may be lured by the rising popularity of matchas in everything from lattes to baked goods, it's important to remain vigilant about the quality of the product. As global markets continues to expand, Japan's position as the custodian of authentic matcha becomes ever more vital to protect the purity and integrity of this ancient tradition. As matcha's global appeal skyrocketed, it created a dilemma in the birthplace of this matcha. While the world was scrambling to embrace the green powder, Japan, the very country that had nurtured matcha's tradition for centuries, was facing an alarming crisis: a shortage of matcha. By 2020, Japan exported over 16 billion worth of green tea, which was largely matcha. This is more than double the export value of a decade earlier. At the same time, local demand for matcha products such as green tea sweets and beverages has only grown. This has created an unfortunate competition between foreign markets and Japanese consumers, with limited supplies being allocated to export rather than domestic consumption. The matcha production is inherently limited by its tedious process. Tea leaves must be shaded for several weeks before harvest to develop their signature sweetness, then steamed, dried, and finally stone grounded into a fine powder. The traditional grinding process alone can take an hour to produce just 30 grams, making it a very slow process. Like the rice shortage, aging demographics are robbing from matcha's production. In towns like Wazuka, the average age of farmers is 65. These farmers possess deep knowledge of traditional tea growing methods, but younger generations are not stepping in to continue their legacies. Efforts to mechanize matcha's production have been met with resistance. Much of matcha's value lies in the handcrafted nature, especially in the ceremonial grade matcha, where even slight variations in leaf color or aroma can impact its quality. Mass producing it risks turning a century-old art into another commodity. It's a quiet crisis, one that doesn't make headlines, but one that threatens to sever matcha from its cultural roots. As demand continues to rise and Japan's traditional production methods struggle to keep up, a difficult question emerges: can Japan preserve the soul of matcha? So, the next time you sip that matcha green tea latte, ask yourself, what are you really tasting? Is it just a trendy superfood or the weight of centuries? The label of aging farmers in Kyoto? Or is it just a brand polished, packaged, and piped into a dessert cup? Matcha today exists in two worlds. One is quiet, deliberate, rooted in ritual, and the other is a global, fast-moving and hungry for more matcha. But somewhere between them is a tension and a choice. We can consume matcha as just another product, or we can honor its deep tradition. Because in the end, matcha isn't just a green tea, it's a culture. And perhaps, most of all, it's a reminder that not everything meaningful needs to be Instagrammable. And that's all for today, folks. Got a favorite way to enjoy matcha? Drop it in the comments. And as always, have a great one and peace out.